Come on, yeah, tell my people to pull up on me. Tell my people to pull up on me.
There I am. What up, though?
Yo,
Man,
good, my brother.
chilling. A beautiful Wednesday to chop it up on the All Done podcast. Bang, bang, bang.
That's a fact. It is Wednesday again. It is Wednesday again. It is Wednesday again. So, with that being said, welcome to the All Done Podcast Live. Um, I'm Shakes. This is my brother Tracy. Yeah, we kind of got some big news. You know, I don't know how. Is it big? Is it not big? We'll let y'all decide. But and you'll see posts from it lately. But we are now on all major streaming apps when it comes to podcast listening. So, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Spotify. What else am I missing? Oh, you froze up on me though. You froze up on me, bro. Is that mine? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
Definitely just kicked me out.
There we go.
I don't know what that
What we got
was, but
going
yeah,
on?
we on all platforms. So check us out where
Yeah,
you
we are
go
on
to
platform.
see
So just
podcasts. Check us
search
out.
when you go to listen to your podcast. Just type in All Done
No
Podcast,
doubt.
and we will be there. So now you listen to us in your car on the way to work, or on the way home, or in the gym when you need something to
Yeah,
get the
somebody
juices
once told me you
going.
got to
You
run at a
feel me?
conversational
We
pace. So
there.
this is good for all my runners out there. You never heard that? You got to run at a
What?
conversational
Wait,
pace
what?
for my distance. Oh, you're not much
Nah,
of
no,
a
well,
you're not much of a
I
runner.
don't do a lot of. Nah, but speaking of like back in my health kit, I used to have an app that I used to run slash
Mm-hmm.
walk through. It was called Zombies Run, and it was a whole story mode that would play through your headphones, and you could have your music playing too, and you was like a runner for this like camp that was like blocked off from the zombies, and you would have missions, and so the only bad part about it is, let's say you was already going at a decent pace, all of a sudden you would hear them say, "Oh, they're getting close. Hey, run!"
Oh,
And you gotta run and you can hear the
I don't
zombies
think
gnarling and
I don't think I'd
growling
like
and
that.
all
I think
that.
a
Yeah, it's fun.
podcast. I think the All Done
It's
podcast
great
will
motivation.
suffice. I don't need to hear zombies chasing me.
I mean, you can listen. Yo, it was dope though. Like that's what
Shout
made me
out to
think of that.
you. Shout out
That
to
was
you, man. You
fire.
was
The
figuring out. You was
zombies run app.
resourceful. You was gonna run. You was gonna figure it out one way or the other. My man said, "Fuck that."
Like, just imagine, like, it was crazy because just imagine, like, you got a running slash walking partner, and y'all sitting there walking and chopping it up, and next thing you know, they
I
take off
get
like,
it,
oh,
bro. I
it's
get it.
zombies in
I get
there.
it.
But it was dope. Like, yeah, so if you're looking for motivation and you're looking for something to walk to, download that app. I don't know if it's still the same. This is a few years back, but download that app and see if it gets your juices going for you. But
I'm
yeah,
chilling, man.
man, what's going on with you? How's your week?
It was
Week
calm,
slash
man. I'm
weekend.
just trying to, be the best version of myself, So working and trying to be a good dad, raising a young man in this very crazy world as going against some of the topics that we're gonna cover tonight. So the world's a crazy place.
That's a fact. No, that's real. That's real. Yeah. My week was interesting. I've been dealing with this health thing. I don't know, something weird. I don't know if it's my back. I don't know if I pulled a muscle. I don't know what it is. But I've, for the people that was worried, I have set up doctor's appointments and even chiropractor appointments
Take
as
care of
well.
yourself,
So I
bro.
don't
We
know.
getting old
It'll be
now.
all right. I'll live.
We getting old, man.
Yeah, that's what it is, bro. I fell a day at work. It's getting crazy.
You're a big dude.
toll
You're
at
too
work
damn
today.
big to be tumbling. I ain't gonna hold you.
I was in a chair, and I guess I dozed off. And when I dozed off, I dropped my phone.
You was startled?
So I went to reach it. The wheel shot from under me. It was crazy.
That's some old.
I'm in the office
old
by
people
myself,
shit there,
so
bro.
I'm
That's some
looking
old
around.
people shit.
Bro, I didn't get hurt. I just
Say those. All right, brother.
Today,
what we talking about tonight? Let's let the people know what we getting into. Where you want to start?
Man, you sent me a few. We got a few different articles we got, but since you said being a parent and all this other stuff, I don't even know who it was.
After I seen this clip, I went and researched a little bit of his stuff. He's kind of a thorough dude, thorough brother in the field of I want to say psychology.
Oh, right.
I didn't know.
I don't know him, but
this clip, I had no idea who he was.
And then in this clip, he was pretty much just like, "Don't look at kids talking
Brother
back
named
as
Elliot
disrespectful."
Connie, therapist, author, podcaster. So
okay,
I gave him a follow. So check him out.
So he said, "Don't look at." I'm
paraphrasing.
gonna see what the vibe is, but yeah, his paraphrasing, like he was just like, "Yo, don't if you tell your kid to do something, and they say why, or don't look at that as disrespectful." And at first, off rip, when I heard, of course, when Charlemagne introduced it, and I was like, "Yeah, you said it's okay."
That's the headline, which that's not really what he's saying, but that's kind of like the headline of the piece.
Yeah, and so, but naturally, how we grew up and how like, nah. If I say do it, do 100%. It. There ain't no conversation to be had about it. And so initially, I'm like, I'm not with that. What was your initial
I think my initial thoughts and my entire take is still the same. I think that notion, again, is getting closer to that whole your parents or your friends thing. And he was kind of leaning towards, you got to teach your kids, right? Because they have, and something he said was profound. He said they have thoughts without wisdom, which, they're children, which is more of a reason why when I say as the adult who has the wisdom, quote unquote, and we hope in these situations, that I can tell you and teach you and guide you. Yeah. And when it's time for you to learn something, you learn it. I think I would push back on the brother initially after hearing his thoughts on the subject of that you're allowing your children to be disrespectful to you. I would push back and say we are getting away from further and further from just letting a child be a child. Some things are not meant for a child to understand. So when I tell you to go paint the house, as the example they used in the clip, or when I tell you to go do whatever it is I want you to go do, even if I sat down and we talked about it as if we were equals, which we're not, it's a chance, probably pretty good chance that you can't grasp it anyway at the age range he used was 8, 9, 10, 11, because you don't know nothing of nothing yet, right? So when the time comes and we hit those different mile markers, I will be glad to sit you down and show you the world through my lens and allow you. His biggest thing was, if you stifle a child at those ages, you're taking away their voice. And so where a child first learns voice is the disagreements with their parents. And I disagree with that. I just can't get on board.
So initially, my thoughts were, hell no. What the hell are you talking about? Do what I say, when I say it, how I say it. But then I listened to his breakdown, and
I understand it.
I got what he was saying. So, but with that being said, it's also about tone. So you can ask me something for understanding, and I don't mind my 3 I have on the right hand. I don't mind when they ask me something for understanding.
Yeah, but then I have to ask
the tone of
the analogy doesn't make sense, because if I tell you to go wash the dishes, there's no where are you finding your voice and asking me, hey, why do I need to wash the dishes? I just don't understand the tone, no matter what.
I mean, but the analogy they used was, well, why do
Sure,
I have to do it and such don't have to do it? And granted, like I said, there's some things where, of course, the obvious stuff like, yeah, bro, what do you mean? Like, but no, I think it's a tone. Like, I'm okay with. I'll give an example. I have my great niece, one of my favorite people in the world, Puda. She's one of my favorite people in the world, but a lot of times she's with my parents, which is her great grandparents, her great grandparents. And my mother's old school. You know,
very well.
You know, she's old school. So a lot of times, Puda will say stuff, and she doesn't mean it maliciously at all, but something she just doesn't understand. And it'll be.
You gotta give me an example, man, because I don't see the difference. Tone, no matter, I don't get it.
I don't have. I'm not even talking about tone. It's just like I'm trying to think of one instinct. Like this is weird. Like they'll be talking, and she'll respond, but she's not responding maliciously. She's not being smart. She's just like, oh well. You know, that's what makes sense to me.
That's why
and it's nothing
that is bad because that's the point. We can't have the brother Elliot was speaking to me to a point where we can have a conversation and I can explain to you because you can have a level of understanding. Again, this goes back to my original point. You're a child. Yeah. Stay in a child's place. Some things you can't understand. And this
some things you can't, but I feel it's nothing. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with explaining.
Yeah,
like
but then
you might understand, you might not.
What do we get? What is that? What is that? How much hours you got in a day? We both was just talking about 15 minutes ago. Like, yo, it's been a crazy week. We got a lot going on. There's jobs, there's parenting. I don't have time to explain to my 8-year-old why you need to pick up the wrappers off my floor when I tell you to do it. Not when you get ready to do it, but the moment the trash is there, pick it up. And if he comes to me and be like, why can I do it when I want to do it? We're not about to have we're on the same playing field, eye level conversation about that. And if that hinders your voice,
no, that's a fact. But like I've explained to like I've had a conversation with KJ and like, you know, I was just like I forgot what the situation was, but later I explained, I was like, do you know why it's not a good idea to, you know, get air in your chest and breathe hard and make sounds when you're talking to me? And he was like, well, no. I was like, it's disrespectful. And he said, I said, do you know, and I broke it down. I was like, do you know what I do at my part-time job? And he was like, well, I know you work at the club. I said, I'm a security guard, and I explained what I do. Look, I stopped grown-ups from fighting, and sometimes it gets crazy. I said, what do you think I would do to one of them when they got disrespectful to me? And he was like, well, I said, yeah, choke them out. And then I broke it down to, I was like, do you believe I can hurt you if I wanted to? Well, yeah. And that's why it's a good idea not to be disrespectful. For the simple fact, you can't beat me. For the simple fact, you can't beat me. And that was a very calm, mild-mannered conversation. Now, in the heat of it, with him being disrespectful,
I'm always calm because I don't.
But he's not a very disrespectful child on a regular basis.
And that's what I wanted to bring up too. Is like you can't. I don't want to start again putting these expectations of adult things on children because I think as long, and especially in these days, man, with a lot of the crazy stuff that's going on, I want to allow my kid to be a kid and worry about reading and math and video games and Hulk Hogan and Undertaker. I want him to worry about kid stuff as long as that he possibly can. Because once they change over, you know, there ain't no going back unless you're Michael Jackson or, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't be grown and get back to the children side of this, right? So once you become an adult, you're an adult. I'd like to shield you as your parent from some of that as long as I can so that you can enjoy that stage of your life. I think that's more important than trying to give you this wild level of understanding at 8, 9, 10, 11 when honestly you probably can't understand it anyway.
Yeah, I believe, like I said, I believe conversations can be had, and you know, granted, a lot depending on how young they are. A lot of times they'll have the conversation, and right in that moment they'll hit it. You know, like they can verbalize it back to you what you're saying, and oh, it means this, and then 20 minutes later they're like, just like hell with
because they're
everything we just
kids,
talked
and it's
about.
in
It
one
don't
ear and
matter.
out the other.
So,
But I mean, that's what parenting is. It's the repeating
yeah.
of the same lessons and teaching of the same lessons. I wanted to get your pushback on. So when we start to talk about children, and I know I see this idea coming more and more that I'm your parent, I'm going to teach you some stuff, but you have a voice, quote unquote. Which again, I don't know how much of a voice I want my child to have at this stage. But anyway, what do you think about the fact that, like you said, Puda doesn't she's not intentionally malicious, but sometimes it can feel that way to Norsey. I had a person say to me, kids and parenting, the dynamic is switching and there's some tension there, and people are trying to put this friendly dynamic between the two because children no longer have reverence to their elders. And I say that to say, when I was growing up, I did not disrespect my mother because she would punch me in my face. That was part of it. I'm about to say that was part of it.
She would
punch me in my face. But that wasn't the only reason I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't disrespectful because I had a reverence. She was my role model. I wanted to make her proud. And so I would ask you, like, do you think, I think personally, kids have lost that. And it's coming from this whole idea that parents, we're going to be friends with our kids. We're going to give them a quote unquote voice at 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. Kids don't have the reverence or that. When I used to look at and it's not even just my parents, even the OGs in the street, I don't always love what Sheem says.
Yeah.
We fight, we argue back and forth all the time. I don't always like what he has to say. But there's a certain reverence and respect that I bring to the conversation, even if I don't agree with him. And I think kids today, that's some of the issues that we're having.
Yeah, I think we got away from the village aspect of raising kids. Yeah, and a lot of that came from that. Like, so if we was on Belgrave and let's say I was down the block and I got out of pocket. Well, your grandmother was allowed to whoop me. She had permission. Not saying she ever did or she would, but she had permission to whoop me. Pop had permission to whoop me. Of course, your mom had permission to whoop me. Halfway down the block, Maria, her family had permission. So that's six whoopings I got before I make it to the house, to my final destination where I'm allowed to get, where I may be punished. And we got away from that. So we got to the don't say nothing to my kid. You tell me and blah blah blah. So now that they feel that way, now kids say, "Oh, I will say whatever because you can't do nothing." And then now, like I said, and then a lot of times parents are quick to, "Oh well, no, you don't say nothing to my child. My child didn't do this, and that." Well, the whole time your child was caught like being a terror in class in school. Excuse me. So I think that's what that is. I think we got away from the it takes a village thing. Teachers used to be allowed to spank kids in class. Now, do I agree or disagree with that? That's a conversation for another day. But clearly it did something.
I mean, I disagree. Children shouldn't be. I think when we start to talk about a village is not a very big place. I think that's when I talk about a city, a village is the concept of that is we're supposed to be talking about a circle, a tight-knit group community, right? So I think it might be a little too far.
But teachers is a part of that community.
In some cases,
teachers is a part of that community.
In some cases, but I think it would stop to our block. I think those 6 or 7 people, right, on that block were enough to make sure we were in line. And
I'll say it. It's our neighborhood because around the corner, the Maurices, they had that range. So I just think, but no, because even when it came to teachers, I remember I was in 6th or 7th grade. I can't remember, but my art teacher, Lozier.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember Miss Lozier. I remember that, and I remember I was in trouble for something I genuinely didn't do at this time. Like this was wasn't one of the things where I didn't do it, but I did. No, I genuinely didn't do anything. And she called my mother. My mother had to come to the school and this, that, and the third. And I was in the classroom and she's saying, well, he did this, this, and this. And I'm looking like I didn't do it. And as I went to say something, my mother, shut up. My mother told me, shut up, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm crying, I'm mad, and she's mad because she's up there. And when we walked out, She looked at me. She told me, I believe that you didn't do it, but that the fact that she called me and that's an adult,
And that's what
on you.
what Elliot was talking
And
about
it's
today.
like,
He was talking about, Brother Elliot was saying, in that moment, Norsey stifled you from finding your voice and your confidence by not allowing you to object. And to me, it's like, again, is it the child in that situation? Is it a child's?
Well,
Where is the benefit for a child to curse out Miss Loja in that situation and be like, I didn't do this, and now Norsey going back and forth with Miss Loja, y'all storming out. This lady still has to teach you for the remainder of the year. There's no win in a child going back and forth in that situation, looking for quote unquote understanding.
right. So I mean, yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a fact. But you know what? It was understanding. You know, I understand. Shut up right now. And she broke it down later. Like, you know, she still broke it down later, but it was just like, yo, I guess I was wrong just because I got into.
But she didn't allow you to find your
an
voice in that moment, which I think was his point.
Do you think?
I don't,
I lack
which
a
is why
voice
I
as
was
an
trying
adult
to
now?
see. I don't know all the children that were stifled or had their voice taken away because their parents taught them respect your elders. I don't know if that's a terrible concept in our society that we should be getting away from.
I think we're getting away from the fact that every individual is different. You know, so some might grow up with a strong voice. Some might grow up and be the behind the scenes type of person, where we don't say much but make it happen. So I mean, we're trying to take that away from, you know, everybody's not meant to go. Everybody's not meant to be that guy. Y'all watching Bel Air now? Y'all see what's going on with Carlton and Will and stuff like that. You don't like
We'll get into popular culture.
You don't like Bel Air?
No, it's not for me. I don't like what they. I don't enjoy what they did to that program. I don't. No, I don't like it at all. But why
they took?
No. See, now we gotta get into 2 seconds. In the original.
Well, now you are an originalist. You know you like the you like the original Lion King.
I love like those people, but the remake was an abomination. That was very, very sad to see. But yeah, the new Bel Air is just, again, don't take our popular black. You have a black family, successful, nuclear, good-looking people, and now you turned it into what you done turned it into. And I just.
Well, they're successful, good-looking, nuclear people. It's a good vibe. It still got Will Smith approved. It's still good.
Listen, he's got his own problems right now. I don't know if he even watches it these days. My man
he ain't got no problems.
But again, we can talk about that. But the brother did talk about in the clip. He was talking about there's a fine line between parents are starting to take questions from their children as disrespect. And I wanted to get your thought on that concept too, because sometimes a question can be disrespectful. Because again, if I told you to do something and then you question that, we're not equal. Yeah, we're not equal.
Questioning my authority as your parent.
Children, which I don't know if this is beneficial, children finding their voice, I need my child of this hue to understand authority and understand the constructs of that and how that is built in this society. I need them to thoroughly understand
that. That's definitely real. And how to respond to authority. So sometimes authority isn't right. Sometimes they were. Like I said, I talked about Miss Loja. My even to this day, I'm a grown man. I still call her Miss Loja because she was a teacher. She was that authority figure. She was Miss Loja. Especially, and I think one thing. Well, I think region plays a difference too, because here when kids respond, it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. New York wasn't the same.
Not if you didn't grow up in that.
Yeah. Like it's not the same. Like I said, my grade age, everything's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And I don't know. Being that I didn't grow up in it, when they don't say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, something like that, I don't find it disrespectful. But here,
so the point would be,
it's very
from
disrespectful.
New York, fine. Is it that big of a deal? No. But am I teaching you that you got to learn to grow accustomed to respecting people how they want to be respected? Right? That's the whole thing, and that's a great segue to some things that's going on in Africa. Right? Like, it's okay to respect people the way they want to be respected. Feel me?
You just want to make that clear, huh?
Like,
Before we
because
get
it's
into this
really
next
been
one?
crazy out here. Like, and sometimes we have these conversations, and it's like, I think people sometimes we could talk, and people will think, well, you don't want this or you're against that. I'm not against anything. I want people to be respected the way they want to be respected.
And I want them to keep our movement going and what we're trying to do and being pros. If you're not sure what a pro is, go buy the book Prosperity for All on Amazon, written by our very own Tracy. But yeah, so
Uganda,
what was it, Uganda? In Uganda, they pretty much outlawed
that's
the
what it's
LGBTQ plus community.
That's what it's looking like.
So not only any acts you may be caught in, but if you identify as a member of that community, which
I don't know, it sounds crazy. So the
right?
headline is Uganda passes bill criminalizing those who identify as LGBTQ plus. Violations under the law include death and life imprisonment. Why do you think? What are your thoughts when you read a headline like that?
First of all, how do you enforce that?
Question.
Like, does it become like a Salem witch hunt where she's gay, he's gay, you know, and jail? I think I think the world has way bigger fights than who you love.
I would have linked that way if you were telling me this is a village or a cult or some religion. I am always wary of these type of things once we start to see laws and legislation passed in any country. To me, that becomes a different conversation than, well, that's just a group of people trying to do X, Y, or Z. You're talking about criminal offenses for people, right? It goes into the whole Brittany Griner thing. Like, we are citizens of the world. God forbid somebody goes to Uganda and now you're presumed, you know, LGBTQ plus, and now you're in the situation. So it's to me, I'm always worried about that type of stuff. But I think I don't have too much to say on this type of topic. But I thought it was important to bring up.
The question becomes, what is
they said death, include death and life imprisonment.
That's wild. Agree, disagree with somebody's personal preferences, whatever, but
yeah, man,
they don't deserve to die.
I can't get on board with that. And so I'm always curious as to, you know, how these type of, you know, decisions come to pass. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on the story as I am a citizen of the world. I'll try to be and just stay up to date on these things.
And the question becomes, since we're the world superpower and we in everybody else's business anyway, as the United States, do we respond to something like that? Do we react to something like that? Do we go liberate those?
I'm sure there will be activists and protests, and there will be people who choose to stand up. And I'm not going to knock those people. Right? If you feel inspired to be an activist and fight up against this, you know, what I would deem as an unfair act in Uganda, I would say, you know, more power to you. More power to you. I mean, clearly to me, it's not right, and you know, hopefully they can get that thing figured out over there.
Comment said LGBTQ plus community is just living their life the way they are comfortable doing so. Like, why the fuck does that bother people so much? You know, everybody.
No, I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that.
I don't get. Yeah, no, definitely in Uganda, but I don't know why it bothers people so much. People just feel it's like people feel their morals and their religious beliefs and blah 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 But I feel like a
I
lot
mean,
of
we
people
put
are
the tip
religious
for
on their
goofy on
own
people.
terms.
Will start to talk about procreative sex and non-procreative sex and what effect that might have on the world. I'm not here to.
The world is
Judge
overpopulated
either
anyway,
way, but
so
again, to deem someone criminally offensive for a lifestyle choice, that's problematic no matter where you do it.
yeah, exactly. I often say this a lot. I'm a free love
No doubt.
person, like love who you love, blah blah blah. My only issue becomes like, never
You
mind. I'm
gonna text it to me?
not texting to you. I'm gonna text it to you. That would have got us stopped before we really
That's
got
all I
started
had
good.
on the
So
Uganda thing. I just wanted to make sure people understood that we peeped that, and that ain't cool, Uganda. That ain't cool. I'm not trying to tell you how to run your business in your country over there, whatever. But that ain't cool to kill or harm people for their lifestyle.
whoa, whoa, wait a minute. The separation of church and state doesn't apply to countries outside of the United States. It really doesn't.
I'm about to say, does it?
In the
Yeah.
United
Okay.
States, it's not much of a separation. Yeah, that leads to another conversation because I want to say here in Mississippi, I'm trying to think of the name of the law, but it might be the religious freedom law or something like that, where you can deny someone access to your business and cite religious
I mean,
beliefs.
the United States. I mean, I'm not going to front like United States just has all these great laws. No, we're playing fast and loose as well. That's not. We play fast and loose with our laws. We make them up and shake them up as we please. So we're not perfect. I'm not saying Uganda is the only country that may be making a mistake, but the same way I would point out the United States when we make an error in legislation, Uganda, we might want to reconsider, killing people for a lifestyle choice. Yeah, you're kind of taking it a little bit far, if we're being honest.
Yeah, we missed the mark on a lot of things. They definitely missed the mark on that one. But like you said, many people don't want their children exposed to the same-sex activity or sexual activity in general.
We're getting into it like
What
that.
I think is maybe.
That was the meme I sent you like a week ago with the whole drag situation and the drag queens reading to the children and whatnot, and people had an issue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about that. That's when parenting. Let me tell you, so this gets back to our earlier conversation. These days you got to be a parent still, and because you're not going to stop it from seeing anything. To be honest with you, let's just be real. Unless you're homeschooling them. Unless you're homeschooling them. Wait. Let me finish. Unless you're homeschooling them and you're keeping them off TV.
That's not the
internet,
point.
things
Yeah,
like
you're
that.
right. But to play devil's advocate, I want my child to be a child as long as they can be a child. I'm not interested in putting non-childlike things on a child. And I don't know if that's where this stems in Uganda. I don't know if they were like homosexuality is being put in places where they don't want it. I don't know that to be true. But I know that in some instances, some people do. They want to push the envelope, and again, I can't get on board with
the question becomes no. The question becomes what you find offensive or you don't want your child to learn or not learn. It might be offensive for my child to not learn.
Yeah,
like no, I want my child to be exposed
don't
to
give
this.
me that. There's broad strokes for different folks. There's a universal.
It's not. No.
So there's no
I might not find offensive and want my child to learn.
Childhood. There's not a childhood aspirant. There's not a box that we can say this is a general childhood situation that we feel comfortable.
I agree. There is a box where a child should be a child, and it should be a safe space for a child to be a child. But then don't, like you said, when it comes to legislation, I was mainly based on one of the comments. Where let me go back
they're not.
to it.
I see the comment. Yeah, they're not the first. They're not the first.
Many people don't want their children exposed to same-sex activity or sexual activity in general.
That's fair. I'm sorry, man.
Man. That is fair, but some people may want them exposed to it. I want my child to learn this at an early age. I'm not disagreeing with the comment. That's what I'm saying.
Why would you want that?
But I'm saying I can't answer for these
stuff
people.
to say
People into weird
I
stuff.
mean, I'm not saying
No,
they're
I'm not
wrong,
saying
but you
stuff
would
to
have
say
to
it, but
tell
I'm
me.
saying,
And I'm a reasonable person. I would listen to a logical, reasonable answer on why you want to teach a child sex. I would love to hear a reasonable response.
Uganda's not the first country to do this. Many Islamic countries believe this is as well. And honestly, a lot of Christian
towns
believe it. And
the
now,
outer skirts of.
yeah, I believe if we allowed it in the United States, there'll be plenty of states, if not towns and cities, who completely make it. Like I said, the Religious Freedom Act here. You have the right to.
Just had Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. Exactly. So, like I said, we do it here. Like I said, the Religious Freedom Act. I think it's that. It might be something else. I might be saying the wrong act, but that allows you to I lost my train of thought. MS moment. It's MS awareness month, by the way. But that allows you to refuse service to somebody based on religious belief. That opened the door for so many different things. It's crazy. I mean, yeah. What you just mentioned?
There are things I don't want my child exposed to, and not because I'm hating on another person's lifestyle, but because it's a Pandora's box. You understand how this works? You open the door, you let that. Oh no, this. Yeah,
you open the door.
You don't want to start it, so we'll just leave it and let a child be a child.
But do you think at some point that wasn't the thing? Like, we talk about Kanye a lot, and when he said where his grandfather took his mom to the sit-ins
at the tender age of 6,
she was a child or whatever, and she was arrested for the sit-ins. Yeah. I was born. So do you think at that time it's the same? You would hold the same.
It's not the same thing.
Like mindset.
And I'll speak for our country now. And if they wanted to take it to that point, but here's the distinct difference. If I'm in Uganda and you look at me, you can't tell I'm LGBTQ plus, right? It's not written on my forehead. Kanye's grandmother, if you don't sit in, they're going to continue Jim Crow. You see how that's different?
Yeah. You see the new group, Jim Crow,
That's
Mississippi?
definitely another topic for another podcast, because it's getting real wicked down there with y'all, man. Florida, too. It's some southern places that's really, they're doing a lot. Doing a lot down there.
It's getting crazy. I mean, we fighting it, but it's getting crazy. We can't impose our values or ways of life on others. Rules are rules. So what? All right. So I'm not sure. Are you saying like, yo, that's just Uganda rules? It is what it is, or like I'm not sure which side of the scale you
I don't think it's and I think it kind of is a little bit. We can, because the whole respectability politics, that's American thing, right? Like, generally, we have a code of respect. Respect our neighbor, right? There's a general value system that the majority of us have. Now, there's some creeps and dirtbags out there, sure there are.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, Americans, we have some sort of general respect for each other, our neighbors and whatnot.
It is what it is.
I don't know,
Uganda.
because I don't know if that community is just going to take that on the chin and just let them people do that. I don't know if that community is going to.
Yeah, I don't think it's trying to impose our values and way of life on people. I think they're trying to impose their values on everybody.
Ugandan political structure is trying to say we're going to do it this way or no way.
This way. One guy did that before. He tried that before, and he started a world war. Hitler tried that shit, and he started a world war. So, I mean, I don't think our point of view, or at least not my point of view, is not me as an American. It's me as a human. That's me as a human. Like, yo, like I'm a human. Like, yo, nah, like you mean to tell me a person can lose their life for who they love? That's getting real Jim Crow as well. Like, Till lost his life for
And I mean,
talking to a white woman.
talk.
That shit's not okay no matter value wherever. Like, that's
Talking
not
to
okay
might
no
be a
matter
stretch,
where
but
you
yeah, I
are.
get your point. I don't.
He
Well,
did a
they
cat.
said a lot of things.
They
I
say
heard
he did a cat.
it was a look,
Yeah.
but never mind.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So that's not a moral and value thing that I'm trying to push on him. That's like a humanity thing.
Citizens
Like,
of the
yo, I
world,
am
bro.
human.
Citizens of the world.
I shouldn't lose. Yeah, I shouldn't lose my life for
I'm gonna
how
wrap
I
this one up.
feel. You know. Man, we talked about a few things today. Let me see. Let's start with the Ugandan thing. I'm gonna wrap it up on like, yo, listen, yeah. I feel this is my personal feeling. I'm not, you know, y'all screwed the pooch on this one. You know, you can't. The issue I have with it is where does it end? Like, how do you prove that? How do you enforce that? And that's when it becomes an issue for me. So Uganda, don't just kill people because somebody said they might be, LGBTQ. With that, as far as the kid thing, it takes a village. That's my belief, but you got to do with what works for your household and your children, while keeping them safe and prepared to be functioning adults. So, when it comes to that, that's every house is different, and so do what works for your family. And hold on, they're literally trying to add
I wasn't
pedophiles to the
gonna
LGBT.
say it, but since somebody said it,
Ah, shit.
I don't know, man.
Does that just
I
extend the
don't
show?
gotta extend it. What's understood? What's understood
No,
don't need
I'm
to be
cool. I'm
explained,
cool.
bro. What's understood does not need to be explained. And that ain't cool. I don't care how you spin that one. You want to read the comment because this is gonna be on. I was just thinking that.
They're literally trying to add pedophiles to the LGBTQ community.
I don't know if that's necessarily what's. All I'm saying is I'm not cool with pedophilia in any shape, form, or fashion. We're not doing that. That's not
exactly. And I think the power that be within that community, I'm pretty sure most of them not cool with it. Like any
I would love to
function,
have
like I said,
of
function
that
morally
come on a podcast
functioning
and
adult.
let's talk about it. I would love to, because I don't think it's nothing like that either. But I also know that before you know it, something can be meant for something and then it could turn to something else. Right? Affirmative action was supposed to be for Black people, but affirmative action turned out not.
See, I didn't want to get into this.
Gotta be careful with your words. Words are important.
So it goes back to my earlier comment where I said I'm gonna text it to you, and what I was gonna say is my only issue with that community becomes they keep adding.
I'm not gonna say it's an issue because I don't care. Add as many letters as you like.
So because now if you got LGBTQ and you add the MAA, which is minor attracted adults, that's where it tilts the scale.
I'll say
you feel me?
Clearer. That under no circumstances are we ever doing sexual.
They also trying to make that a mental illness as far as being attracted, like pedophiles is a mental illness. It's well beyond mental illness, like you're sick. But
I don't want to extend it, but maybe one of these days I would love. I have people in my family that are in the LGBTQ plus community, and I would love for them to come, and maybe I'll reach out to a couple.
Sure,
and chop it up.
I know a lot of people in that community.
Because I think my rap was going to be the more we have these conversations about foreign policy and how we feel as Americans about certain foreign policies, or just talking amongst our community on how we're raising our kids. I think these conversations, again, just continue to try to push the culture forward. Somebody's got to have somewhat productive conversations. We can't all just be on the internet laughing at Tekashi, and doing that from day to day, right? And so we have to continue to say, let's have a conversation about the very thin line between, old school parenting and new school parenting, and children being disrespectful versus respectful, and Uganda possibly committing human rights violations. I think those types of conversations continue to push the culture forward, and that's what we do or aim to do here on this podcast. So that's what I got for you.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
On that note,
I'm good. We see. Yeah, that's crazy. Wait, dang. What the time on? LGBT community did not have sex with us. Oh, so this is a conversation that we got. Listen, we got to put a pin in that.
But then if we're gonna talk about it, we gotta have somebody from that community represented. So for those of you who are in that community, I don't want to
exactly. That's why I said we not just gonna.
I mean, we could, but I definitely want to have somebody on, and I know we got listeners from all different types of communities. So if somebody from that community would just come on and educate us, let's talk about it. We would definitely be open to that. Yeah, same.
I'll reach out to some people I know
No doubt.
that I love to death that's a part of that community, and like I said, a lot of conversations to be had.
No doubt.
About
and I know this podcast is all done. Till next week, family.
All done. Love. Peace.